Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Reyes, and welcome to my Capstone project. The title of my project is Environmental Justice Education: How We Can Change Our Planet and Society One Classroom at a Time. So, there's a big lack of awareness around the relationship between environmental issues and social issues, which are both very prominent in our society, both combined and also not combined. These environmental injustices are often faced by minority groups in our society, and the lack of awareness and action results and will continue to result in these issues persisting. Environmental justice education is necessary, but most programs do not adequately address it. If you look at my first figure, figure one, this is a graph from the results of a survey that I conducted for the University of Washington program on the environment students. And this answered two questions, which are that they felt their education was adequate when it came to the environment, and also that their education influenced their stewardship ethic. And over 50% of respondents said that their kindergarten through 12th grade education has impacted how they behave towards the environment now, and that they felt they were not adequately educated about environmental issues. So I think that we should take this influence and take advantage of it. So I aim to answer the research question, what are the opportunities and challenges in teaching kindergarten through 12th grade children about environmental justice issues? In order to answer my research question, I had several different methods, which included my capstone internship, which was co-hosting the Common Cause for Sustainability podcast. This is a podcast run by the University of Washington Bothell and Cascadia College. And this involved me interviewing environmental and education experts, where I got to ask them questions about my specific research question. If you look down at figure two, it is a Spotify QR code. And if you open the Spotify app and use the camera in the search bar, it will take you right to the podcast. And the mini series that I co-hosted is called Growing Up Green. The other methods that I used for my research were an online survey that I mentioned just before to University of Washington program on the environment students, and I also conducted a literature review. So through my interviews, the literature review, and my survey, I was able to conclude several challenges and opportunities within teaching K through 12 children about environmental justice issues. First challenge that I identified was that environmental justice topics are often hard to grasp at a young age and can be very sensitive to discuss. Another challenge is that an increase in use of technology has led to less outdoor time for children and has exposed them to topics that they may be overwhelmed by or scared of, if that's social media, something that their friends are telling them, just that kind of stuff. Third, educators are not adequately trained to teach about environmental justice topics, and this is partly due to the institutions set in place by our society that have not prioritized environmental education very well. Another challenge that I got to interview one specific guest all about was barriers to accessing environmental education, which include high cost, lack of green space in cities and unsafe areas in cities, weather patterns, and low priority of environmental curriculum. Another challenge that I identified was that environmental justice education implementation may require added curriculum in classes or schools, which may deter educators and children from interest in participating. Although there are a lot of challenges, there were also many opportunities that I found. And one great opportunity is that immersing children in nature can lead to environmental stewardship, which can be implemented at home, just in life in general, but also into environmental curriculum to stem interest and care in the environment, which can then lead them to be more interested in the social aspects of environmental issues. Another opportunity is that discussing topics frequently with children can make them more comfortable talking about them and less scared of what there is to come. So I think this is really important. Another opportunity is that community-based learning and activities in the classroom and communities and neighborhoods can be really motivating for children. So an example of this could be a student-led discussion in class about environmental justice, or just environmental activities out in the community with more than one person, such as collecting waste or picking up garbage, etc. So another opportunity that's really interesting is instilling a sense of hope in children can be a really big motivator. And this can include providing them with solutions or just the attitude that things can get better, which is also related to my other challenges because they need to be more comfortable discussing them. Another opportunity is that tangible incentives can be a motivating factor as well. And this may not directly address environmental justice curriculum, but when it comes to environmental curriculum, tangible incentives such as prizes, treats, and awards in school can be really motivating for children to want to learn more about subjects in general. So, from my research results, the next steps that we need to take are creating easier access to environmental education in general and taking advantage of platforms that may be more accessible, like podcasts. So if you see in figure 3, this is a photo of my podcast co-host and I recording in the podcasting studio. And this is just really important to highlight because podcasts are a really accessible form of learning, as they're almost always free, they don't require reading, and there's something that can be listened to anytime on multiple platforms. Communication about environmental topics is critical, and something like a podcast is a great way to start and also to spread awareness to not only children, but also the educators that need more information. Frequent discussion must also take place in the correct mannerisms for certain ages to stem interest and open doors for discussions in the future about these topics. Another thing we need to do is create more immersion in nature for children. And augmented training for educators, specifically around environmental justice topics, is also crucial because, like I mentioned in the challenges section, there are a lot of educators that do not feel like they're prepared to teach these things. Lastly, using the motivators that I also mentioned in my results, such as community-based activities, hope, and tangible incentives can also be utilized. So with this information, there are a few things that I'd like my audience to keep in mind, which are that we can teach children about these topics at any age, so long as it's approached properly. So it's never too late, never too early to start. Some challenges can also bring opportunities. One example of this is the technology challenge, because obviously it has led kids to not be outdoors as much and spending time in nature. However, because of the rise of a use in technology, there's lots of tools on devices online that can be really useful for educating people about the environmental justice, like podcasts, for instance. And lastly, we cannot rely solely on children to fix our planet. They are our future, as many people say. However, we can't put the burden or responsibility fully on them. However, we can make a really positive impact with their help. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I'd like to give a special thanks to my faculty advisor, Eli Wheat, my site supervisors, Stefan Klassen and Rachel Luther, and my family and friends. Everyone has been very supportive and helpful throughout the entire capstone process, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.